Hi, I'm Jody Bruns, President and founder of the Divorce Lending Association and the CDLP Certified Divorce Lending Professional Designation. Thank you for joining me today on divorcepodcast.com. Today, I have the pleasure of introducing you to one of our CDLPs, Ken Venick. Ken, thank you so much for joining me today.
I'm happy to be here.
So, tell us a little bit about yourself, Ken. I always prefer to let my guests introduce themselves, where they're from, how long they've been in the industry, rather than me reading a bio. I like to make it a little more personal.
Excellent. So I've been started the mortgage business in 1987. So I'm in 36 years now, and I've, it's the only thing I've done pretty much in my career, and I couldn't imagine doing anything else. Helping homeowners, future homeowners, and helping people manage their money, helping people get through divorce and all other kinds of life challenges that they deal with.
So where are you located, Ken?
I'm in Baltimore, Maryland.
Okay, very nice. Is the fall weather really pretty up there now? All the leaves
It
turning?
is. Yeah, our weather is gets a little psycho. We'll go from 70 one day to 40 the next, and so, but we're today we got pretty good fall weather. I think we're in the low 50s.
Oh, wow. One of the things I miss about living in the area where the seasons actually change are the fall colors. I love them. My husband was actually just up in the Virginia area last week, I think, on business, and he said it was just beautiful up there.
It's beautiful as long as you don't have to rake the leaves.
This is true. That's funny. So, Ken, I know that you have been with us at the Divorce Lending Association since 2022. So
Yes.
you've been with us for almost 2 years, because I think it was March of 2022. So going on 2 years here. Tell me, what attracted you to, specialize, in any area, let alone divorce?
So I've always been a big believer in education. Another certification I have gears towards the financial planning world. So when I saw the opportunity, or I got introduced to CDLP, I thought it was perfect because I deal with a lot of divorce cases over the years, and it really hones in on the guidelines and the nuances and allows us to really be uh, a great asset to the divorce attorney up front. So there's less issues on the back end, but after the divorce is negotiated. It's kind of like when you buy a house. If you do all your prep work up front in the financing goes smoothly. And same thing in the divorce world. If you do a lot of the prep work up front, the negotiations and the final result goes a lot smoother.
So I picked up on one word that you mentioned, that was guidelines. One of the common, I believe, misconceptions out there is, and this is from other mortgage professionals, them thinking that they don't need, extended training and knowledge in divorce is because they all know how to read guidelines, which we do as mortgage professionals. But my question to you is, when you went through the CDLP program, do you think it was exactly what you thought it was going to be, or were you surprised about all the additional background knowledge that was shared that really, levels up your ability to work with not only the divorcing clients themselves, but their professional divorce team?
Take a step back first. I think you may want to get underwriters' opinions on how well the average loan officer knows the guidelines.
That's true. That is very true.
And on the 80-20 rule, and it may even be 90-10 in our business. But in all seriousness, with the Divorce Lending Association, all the things I've learned, and that's after being in the business 34 years, because you've got people that are focusing on one specific area. And the Fannie Mae guidelines, I used to have the manual. I mean, it's hundreds of pages. So being able to really hone in on certain areas where it can make or break a client's loan is huge. And being part of the team, the divorce attorneys they're not numbers people, and they're not mortgage professionals. So the good divorce attorneys are going to bring in all the resources to make sure the client has a good result.
Yeah, absolutely. So in your experience, having worked with, divorcing clients, divorce attorneys, mediators, financial advisors, because I know part of your background, as you mentioned, was you work with a lot of financial advisors and divorce mortgage planners too. You don't work with the divorce mortgage planners, but the financial planners.
Right.
What would you say are some of the more common challenges or misconceptions, if you will, that individuals face when it comes to getting a mortgage after divorce? They've gotten a mortgage in the past, obviously. That's why they're a homeowner. Why is it changed? What do you think is their biggest aha, eye-opening moment when talking to you?
Well, it depends. I mean, if it's a spouse that may have never been involved in the financing side, they have no idea what the process is, and they assume that my spouse got the mortgage, I probably won't qualify. And so it's important to really educate the consumers as well to figure out what their goals are. And maybe it isn't buying a house today. Maybe it's just getting the right settlement, but making sure that if they're going to be buying in a year or 2 years, that we're still putting them in the right position through the divorce to ultimately achieve the goal, whether it's going to be getting the spousal support or the child support long enough based on their plan moving forward. So it's like any other when I'm dealing with financial advisors. It's asking all the right questions, because if I don't ask, they don't know what they need to tell me. And it's same thing with home buyers. Any client that comes in, it's a fact finding mission. So I ask a lot of questions before I give any advice, because I got to understand what their problem is and how to fix it.
Yeah. So when you reach out and try to build your network and your relationships with other family law professionals, do you ever sense that there's any type of pushback where, I understand mortgages, understand how mortgages work, I'm going to work on my case, and then maybe I'll refer my clients to you, when everything's done and settled? Do you find that to be a common conversation?
Sometimes, I mean, and I compare it, and not to dwell back on the financial advisors, but you've got some attorneys that all they focus on is getting their job done. They don't think outside of the target of what the client's plans are. It's just, let's plow through this, get it done. Same thing with financial advisors. They only want to just worry about managing money. But then you've got the ones that look at the holistic approach with the whole the client's whole life. So you're trying to find the attorneys that take that approach, that want to figure out what's the best overall situation for the client, not just getting them through the divorce, but moving their life forward after divorce. Those are the ones I work best with, because they're looking a little bit outside the box and are willing to bring in the outside sources. Like any industry, you always got some people that think they know it all and don't need any outside help.
Yeah, that's very true. So I always find that, obviously divorce law is different, state to state, sometimes county to county, on how they do things in their processes. But I always like to share with my, colleagues, as well as the divorce professionals that I work with, who they don't understand that there is such an intersection, of family law, financial and tax planning, real property, and mortgage financing when the home is in the center. And they need to really understand that what may be available as a legal option in their area may not be a mortgage option. And why would they help their clients structure a settlement agreement, put it into an executed court order, basically, not even knowing if they can execute on what's included in that court order in regards to their mortgage? So, the thing that I hate to see the most is when you have one spouse who so much wants to keep the family home, whether it's for the children, the memories, or whatever, and they agree to potentially refinance, do an equity buyout. And in the court order, it says, and the settlement agreement, it'll say, if you cannot refinance within, say, 120 days, the home will be placed for sale. That puts that person in such a horrible situation because they thought they could refinance. They've done it in the past. Why couldn't they do it now? And then all of a sudden, because of all the situations and nuances and rabbit holes, basically, that divorce throws at them, now they're forced with selling the home. So I really love working with all of you guys, as members of the Divorce Lending Association, to getting that word out and trying to almost have every divorce professional, when there is real property involved, integrate divorce mortgage planning during the settlement process, not after. Let's make it a common goal to set our clients up for success. So when you are, talking with a new attorney, mediator, financial advisor, et cetera, how do you explain to them the importance of bringing you in early in the process rather than being a once it's settled referral?
Well, to address what you just brought up about the deadlines. So if they do the settlement, they got 4 months to refinance. Wouldn't it be better if they brought the divorce mortgage planner in at the beginning of the divorce process? Because that's probably 6 months before the settlement. So now you have technically 10 months to work on it, not 4 months to work on it.
Mm-hmm.
And also they're gonna know before the settlement's done whether or not they're even going to qualify for the mortgage, so that whether that's even whether that time frame even matters or not. So sometimes they put these arbitrary time frames in, not knowing whether that's even doable or not. Well, it doesn't cost anything to bring in a divorce mortgage planner to figure out if it's feasible. So that's what I talk to the attorneys about, is that our services are free. So it's not costing your client anything. And all we're doing is adding more information. So when you're doing the negotiations, what you can and can't do on the back end.
So I
To me,
think
it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, so I think we should clarify that comment to our listeners about the services of a CDLP being quote unquote free. What I want everyone to understand is that under ECOA, the Equal Credit Opportunity Act, marital status is a protected class. And we are held by specific guidelines, rules, et cetera, as licensed mortgage professionals, to where we cannot charge a client that's protected under ECOA a consulting fee if we're not charging every one of our mortgage clients a consulting fee. So if I charge a consulting fee to a divorcing client and not a first-time home buyer, I could be in violation of ECOA. And so when we tell our divorcing clients and divorce professional partners that as a certified divorce lending professional, we cannot charge a consulting fee for our services. How we are compensated as licensed mortgage originators is when we successfully help our divorcing clients put a new mortgage in place, we are then compensated as in any normal mortgage transaction by our employer. So just to put a little clarification out there for our listeners on how you're right, there is no backlash. There is no reason not to bring you in as a CDLP, Ken, into every one of your attorneys and financial advisors' divorce cases, because your consultations are of no charge. Right. And they get amazing advice from you.
Right.
So
and they learn something.
Yeah, they're going to learn something. So if you could leave us with one nugget of information today, what would that be?
I think we may have just discussed that one nugget, but no, that it's whether it's a homeowner or someone going through a divorce, just looking for information. or an attorney, there's really no downside to connecting with the local CDLP just to run scenarios and just see what the options are. And that way, if information is never a bad thing,
That's
it's always
exactly
good
right.
information. And Google unfortunately does not always give you the best information. So I always say to my professionals that I work with in all the fields, whether it be attorneys, CPAs, financial advisors, just look at me as your Google
Yep.
when it's
Well,
mortgage
and
related.
the thing that Google doesn't understand is that every single divorce situation, every single person involved in that divorce is unique. There is no blanket answer to anything. Could you assume your loan? Maybe, maybe not, possibly not. Can I refinance the home? Can I keep it? Maybe. It all depends. It depends
Right.
on their unique situation. So, Ken, how can our listeners get in touch with you?
My email address is ken@kenvenick.com, and my direct phone number is 410-598-9410.
And what areas and states are you licensed in?
I am licensed in every state but New York, Arkansas, and Hawaii.
Oh, very nice.
New York, we're not getting licensed in. Arkansas and Hawaii, I can do. If I get enough requests, all I need to do is drop a license there. But the other 47, I'm ready to go. So happy to help anybody that has any questions or needs any information.
Awesome. Well, Ken, thank you so much for spending a few minutes with me today. And I hope you have a wonderful holiday with your family.
You too. Thank you very much. Have a great day.